Hello everybody, this is Mr.Po and welcome to another new episode of What's Good About the Tank with me. And for new viewers who join this series of videos for the first time, I will briefly explain. In this series we are looking at other fish keepers aquariums that were posted on Reddit. So before we start, big shout out to each and every poster who shared their creations, and we look at them, we analyze what's good about them, what's so awesome about them, and learn in the process how to design aquascapes. So that's what we do, and it's been a long time since the last video, and because probably it was just a busy year and I kind of forgot about it, and also I wasn't in the right mood for such kind of analysis videos. But I think now it's a good time because I'm relatively more or less free. So let's get down. I saved some of the aquariums that I found really interesting and I wanted to share them with you. So the first one is this aquarium, this aquascape. First of all, I like those kits in which you have the light unit and also the filter unit, because they are really nice, and they kind of offer you everything. And I like that the filter itself is black because it's not so obtrusive, so you can just enjoy the aquascape itself. And I like this cape. I like that it has this triangular composition. To be honest, this is one of the fundamental ones in aquascaping and also one of my favorites personally, and I think many aquascapers also have the same preference very often. And take a look at these rocks. They are very cleverly put so that they create this duality between the bigger rock and the smaller rock, and there is also a cave, a dent in between them, which creates more depth, more dimension, and if you look at the plants closely, they are all planted in between those rocks, which is one of the best ways to do it because it just covers everything, but at the same time it's not in your face. So I guess that this is a relatively new aquascape. It will grow a little bit more and will become bushier. And I also really like this backlight, this orange backlight. It creates this sunsetty vibes. Though personally I used it and I couldn't stick to it for a long time. Though it's a very good aquarium, no words. So the next one will be this one. What I liked about this aquarium is that it has this hairy, style. Some aquascapers do not enjoy this style because they think that it is it just reminds them of earth more than water. But I think that if you combine various plants that have this tendency to be like hairy, having hairy and fine textures, I think it works really well. If you take a look at the scape itself, at the placement of rocks and wood, this is very, very, very nice. And it creates this concave impression, and the plants kind of continue this concave curved flow, and many of those plants, if you look closely, have this fine small leaf textures and some curved textures. So this creates a very nice uniformed vibe overall. This aquarium is really nice. The maintenance, it is obvious that it is really good, and it's a little bit overgrown, which again works for this style of vibe, this style of scape. A little bit uncontrolled, which is great. Great lighting we have here, and it just creates a good and distinct impression. Well, the next one is a smaller aquarium, but nevertheless a very, very beautiful one. And if you take a look at the picture before, this is the picture of this aquarium during its initial setup probably, and you see two pieces of wood, and by the way, I have such wood myself, are placed like this, one in one angle and another in an opposite angle. So it basically creates a straight angle. but it really works because one wood, which is right one, is smaller, and another wood, which is the left one, is bigger. So it creates this disbalance, this asymmetry, and asymmetry is essential in aquascaping. If you take a look at the second picture, it is obvious that the the place where two would kind of cross each other is in the kind of like on 1/3 of the aquarium. And I like the growth. I like how all the stem plants at the back grow, and green and red blend together. Hygrophilopinity feeder is placed very nicely, creating a little bit more weathered, mature look. And the grass absolutely is absolutely everywhere. You can see the all the roots, etc. So it's a very healthy aquarium with a CO2 injection, because you can see the drop checker here, and absolutely gorgeous betta fish, which also fits the overall theme of the aquascape. Well, the next one is this aquarium, and again, the last aquarium was these two pieces of wood. You have probably seen it's just bare. There is nothing on it, and sometimes it works really well because it creates shadows, it creates texture. You also do not hide the beauty of the wood itself. For example, you can place anubiases on it, some floating, not floating, but some bryophytic plants on it, which is great. But sometimes you may leave it open and bare, and it also works because it showcases the texture of the wood itself. And in this case, in the case of this aquarium, we see it is the aquarium with a lot of shadows. The shadows are produced by the substrate, which is here and there, and it is kind of thicker layer, and also the shadow in the centerpiece of an aquarium, again at the third, half of the aquarium in the center of the third. So this kind of rule of thirds also works here, as you can see. And this cave creates a little bit of mystery, a little bit of this natural look, which is not obvious. It is something that you need to discover, if you will. And this is what I think the aquascaper wanted to do. I like how the plants cover, this inner cave. They kind of like hang, from above, if you look at it from the distance, which also creates this cavey look, with overgrown plants hiding all that. A very beautiful, piece, actually. And we can see some other aquariums here by the same poster. Here, for example, a little bit more jungly, and absolutely beautiful betta fish with very vibrant colors, etc. So I think that this is this aquarium, or maybe another one. I think that's another one which has the same style, but it has more plants, so it looks a little bit more jungly, which is really great, actually. Yeah, or maybe this is the same one, but maybe this one after trimming. However, both styles are very good. So the next aquarium here is very, very breathtaking, in my opinion, because take a look. If you just come up to such an aquarium in real life, I think you will be stunned by the amount of plants and amount of work which was done with this aquarium. This is a high-tech aquascape with CO2 injection, a lot of stem plants, all this rotala, all this hygrophilopinity feeder, and carpeting plants, and also all those red stem plants. They are all over the place. The aquarium gives off a little bit of a Brazilian aquascape style because of those two arcs that look like big mountains. But in reality, I think it's a classical nature aquarium, a little bit overgrown, and the aquascape deliberately made this arc, which looks really great. And you see all the hardscape, and I think that this is probably the wood is already covered in all those plants. And the fish choice is great for this aquascape, classic neons and ruminose tetras. And if you look at some other photographs in here, for example, you see This is a freshly trimmed aquarium, so you know the stems look a little bit bare but still really nice. And this is an overgrown state of an aquarium when all that becomes a very big thick wall, which is not very healthy for the plants themselves. So that's why, you know, it's a very good idea to, you know, trim them once in a while. Oh no, I think I made a mistake, guys, about the hardscape. This is not wood. These are big giant dragon stones. And this is great because it looks like wood dragonstone, right? And place it like that, creating this cavey, rocky, you know, aquascaping style with the stones just bursting out, one bigger and one smaller, as it is supposed to be, to create the sense of asymmetry, which therefore creates the sense of being natural. Is very, very nice. And the plants just, you know, it took over. They took over. Yeah, this is an initial, you know, step of this aquascaping. Take a look, putting the soil at the back, you know, like steep soil which goes down, you know, and the stones themselves here that basically hold the whole construction. This requires a lot of effort and a lot of work. And that's why, you know, in order to achieve higher success and quicker success, the scaper, of course, use the CO2 injection, which propagates your plants properly and makes them look different. So I like this aquarium and another one, because there are two ones. The first one here, why I like it, because, you know, of those scraggly and bare driftwood pieces, 3 pieces, very nice, creating shadows again. Yes, this aquarium contains a lot of shadows, which creates a moodier, you know, atmosphere. And the branches themselves are not very thick, which also works in this cape, because this cape looks a little bit more natural. Yeah, you know, the poster, the scaper here, let the plants grow and do whatever they want, so they create this arc, right? And it's like, you know, you dive in and you are inside this kind of jungly, you know, kingdom of plants and fish and nature in general, and you just, you know, are inside of it. So, you know, it kind of, the arc is above you. This is a beautiful piece, and the wood itself here works for this atmosphere, the atmosphere of you know, some mysterious place in the river. And another scape here is more open, but it's still, you know, a little bit uncontrolled. We see some cryptocoryns here and some bucephalandra at the bottom. And I like this contrast because those, you know, longer-leaved plants, they look more jungly, and at the same time these buces that are on the wood, they are not, they don't stand out that much. And it feels like sometimes the wood is bare, but it is not, because there are some accents created by bucephalandra. And this wood is chunkier, which creates a bolder, a little bit more pronounced scape compared to another one. And if you just take a look at those two together, I think they work really well with each other. They are similar, but at the same time different. They produce similar vibes, but each one is anyway unique. So, okay. And the last one, this one, the poster actually posted 2 pictures. And this aquascape that I see reminds me of my own aquascape, especially the earlier ones. You know, and this is a classic approach by a nature aquarium style guideline. So you have this triangular composition, you have the plants heavy in one corner, and then you go to another side and they kind of like recede in height. And all that is placed around the rock and wood formation like we see here. And the fish choice is also a classic one. But the original poster has posted another picture showing what happened to the aquarium. And take a look at this. You know, only Velisteria has survived some other plants. And he is asking what is happening. So what is happening, I guess, is the lack of nutrients in initial aquarium phase, because probably this aquarium is a new setup. I can even judge by water. You know, when you have a completely new aquarium, the water is kind of, you know, it's almost like blue. It has blue color. There are no tannins in it. You know, that's what can happen. You know, you have algae outbreak because I think that algae is visible on the glass of the aquarium, on the plants. The plants also suffer from nutrient, you know, deficiency because they thin out. Some plant matter already kind of like is dying, right? And they are just melting. They are melting because of the lack of nutrients, but also it can be because they were moved to a completely new setup, so they are adjusting themselves to, you know, new conditions of water parameters, etc. And of course algae takes over at that moment. So, you know, it's very difficult to get past that stage, because I think that many beginner fish keepers who have completely new aquariums, they sometimes can experience that. And even those who have experience may also go through that if they just set up aquarium from scratch. And the thing here is to just you know, get enough patience, look after that, you know, add nutrients, monitor the water parameters, change water as much as possible, maybe every day 20%, 10%, fight against algae, maybe add some fast-growing plants and a lot of them, so that they could balance all that out, like cornwort probably, right? Something like that. Myriophyllum is also very good. So maybe the melting will stop. It will stop eventually after some time, but you know, you need to look after parameters, you need to feed your plants, you need to fight algae, change water, and eventually it will all, you know, be better, much better than initially. So well, that's it for today, guys, and thank you very much for, you know, watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed this, you know, session of what's good about the tank. I also had a really good time, and I think that we have learned a lot about shadows, about the work of the hardscape, about different textures and different nature of hardscape. Sometimes it can be chunky, sometimes it can be slim and tender, and it creates certain mood for the aquarium. So okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this one, and see you next time. Then there will be eventually more videos, I hope. So take care and see you later. Then it's Mr. Po out.